Hey guys, welcome back. What I'm going to be working on today is installing a ductless air conditioning unit. Hey YouTubers, it's Ronan here with my bar channel. What we got today is I'm going to install this DAIZUKI split air conditioning unit, model number DX12E426F, a 19 SEER. It's a 12,000 BTU unit. What I've done is I've already went in and changed out my breaker, put a 30 amp breaker. It had a 20 right here, so I put a 30 amp breaker and I went ahead and pulled the wire through. It's that orange wire you see right there, a 10 gauge. I pulled that wire through and ran it all the way to the outside. Here we got that bracket mounted. You can see the screws, and it's leveled off at a level for the unit. So what I've done here is got the inside unit already mounted. Mount the mounting brackets in the position where it will be. Got the bracket all mounted with concrete screws, and it's just hanging in there. I've just got to get the lines pulled, connect the power, and then I'm good to go. Initially, we're supposed to go up and into the ceiling and come back out where the condenser is. However, when I went up in the attic and scope out the ceiling, on the right side of me right there is a vaulted ceiling, which prevents that from happening because there was no space. It's about 18 inches of crawl space to get to the end here where the line would be, and it would prove to be very difficult to accomplish that task. So we decided to go through the wall and run the line on the outside all the way around to the side of the unit. So we went ahead and start drilling that concrete with some concrete bit. We drilled the hole enough for the electrical wire, the high side line, the low side line, and the drain line. So we went ahead and drilled that out. That took a while because that concrete was a header concrete, solid concrete all the way through with rebars. There were no cinder blocks, so it took a while to get that drilled out. But once we got that drilled out, we were able to accomplish the task by getting the line through the hole and pushing it in. Once the hole was drilled out, we went ahead and laid the line out of where it's gonna run and where it would be. So we ran it, straightened it out, and set it up to where it will pass through the hole on that concrete. The line is gonna be mounted on the wall right above the window going through. We passed everything through. I taped up the ends to prevent the concrete dust or anything from getting in to the lines themselves. So everything was taped up and passed through. Once we got it through, we molded that line on the outside to give it that curve without a kink to run alongside that wall when we know we had enough length. Because it was difficult to get both lines passed through the hole on the concrete we drilled, I had to cut one end off the line, and then now I have to reflare it back for connection. Remember, before you flare, you want to put your nut back in and then flare, otherwise you have to cut this line again and you may end up being short. So what you're seeing here is I have the inside unit propped up with a water bottle. That way I can connect the high side and low side line. If you look to the top of your screen, you'll see that high side and low side line already pulled in. So I'm going to attempt to connect this two line in that space that there is. You need 2 wrench, one for each side, one to hold one end and one is to turn the nut.
So let me get this connected. The insulation package of this unit contains a leak lock compound, which you're supposed to rub on the threads of your copper lines and then proceed with connecting your lines. So you want to make sure that you have the leak lock compound rubbed on all your threads. It's not a quick drying compound, so you don't have to rush. You just have to just rub it and connect it. After you apply the leak lock compound to the threads, you want to start connecting the nut by hand. Start your thread by hand, that way you're ensured that it's not cross-threaded, and then you can proceed to use your adjustable wrench or combination wrench to tighten it down. Once that's hand tight, you want to get a torque wrench and torque this down to manufacturer specification. Otherwise, you could have a leak if it's not torqued correctly. Recall this is refrigerant, so it's operating under high pressure. I'm going to then proceed to run my electrical for the inside unit. That way I can connect all my inside parts before moving to the outside. As I was working on the inside unit, I had my father mount the bracket for the outside unit. So he mounted the bracket on the wall, used a level, concrete screw, anchors, the works, and we proceeded to put the outside condenser on the wall. We hung it on the wall, and now I'm gonna go connect my electrical. So I will connect my 240 volts, 220 to 40 volts first, and then I will go ahead and then start connecting my refrigerant line and low voltage. I had to replace this sub panel that's here with a bigger sub panel because the one that was there was to run a pool pump and also an outlet, which was a 20 amp circuit. Since I wanted to add the air condition to this circuit, I increased the circuit breaker to a 30 amp, and I had to increase this panel because there were no extra space for a breaker. So I went ahead and connect my my power wire. Before you change breaker and wires, you want to make sure that you know your total amp draw, and it will tell you in the manual what kind of amp that this unit would pull. So you want to calculate what you will need. You just cannot add a breaker to a circuit and hoping that the wire will carry the load. So if you're not sure what you're doing, you need to consult an electrician. I am not an electrician. What I've done is I did my math and calculation based on research, and I knew the size that I needed for this unit and the pool pump and the one outlet that's sitting right next to the sub panel. Always remember, when you're working with electricity, you need to turn off your main power source at your panel. That way you know that the circuit is dead. You also want to just double check it if you're not sure of how the circuit is wired. Once I finished connecting my wiring and I installed my breaker, I went ahead and closed up everything to secure it, and I'm done with this portion of the job. Now join me for part 2 as I finish up this job where I connect the copper lines, I leak test the unit, pull the vacuum, and charge it up. So join me for part 2. Like, share, subscribe. Click that notification bell if you subscribe. That way you can get update of future video once it's getting posted. Again, it's Ronan from the Bar channel. Thanks for watching my video and have a good one. Peace out and catch you in the next video.